One life, one chance. A permadeath run. I will beat this game without dying. And behold, an illusion mage. Yes, all of Skyrim will bend to my will. All of Skyrim will serve me. And you have the honor of being the first. Your mind belongs to me. Too powerful. Oh. Right. I forgot to account for skill issues. Hello everyone, I'm the one asking, and today I'll be showing you my death alternative mod for Skyrim Special Edition, Spark of Life. Spark of Life adds rare Ayleid artifacts known as Sparks of Life, where each spark represents one extra life. One spark, one chance to survive. So, how does the mod work? Well, as you can see here, Sparks of Life are these winged crystals, and as long as you have at least one spark in your inventory, you are considered essential. You know how some NPCs can't get killed, and when they run out of hit points they just get down on one knee for a bit? That's the essential protection. And that's what you will have whenever you carry any sparks in your inventory. Nothing can kill you in this state, and even kill cams are disabled. So, what happens when you reach 0 hit points while protected by a spark? Very simple. When you reach 0 hit points, your health, magicka and stamina will be fully restored, and you will be temporarily invulnerable so that you can reposition or escape. The spark will be consumed when this happens, and when you have no sparks left, you will be mortal again, like in normal Skyrim. And the next time you hit 0 hit points, you will die. At this point, kill cams work as usual, so be careful. Now, you may be thinking, okay, that's pretty useful, but where do I find them? Sparks are usually placed once per major dungeon, though not always. You'll find them occasionally as you explore the world, but I've kept them fairly rare so they don't become overpowered. You can expect to find about 2 to 4 sparks per major questline, and a few more scattered around Skyrim. All infused sparks are hand-placed, they do not respawn, and you will not find them as random loot, and you also can't buy them from vendors. That's how you get these infused sparks, the ones that can actually save you. However, not every spark you find will be active. You may also come across inert sparks of life. These cannot save you from death on their own. Instead, they can be converted into functional infused sparks using a ritual spell, but I'll get to that later. And yes, these can be found as random loot or with vendors, but only at later levels. Later in the game, you can also craft inert sparks yourself. This requires the right materials, at least 75 smithing, and either reading the On Sparks of Life book, or having first-hand experience of being rescued by a spark. To start you off, your first spark can be found in Helgen's torture room. Here you will also find a journal from a mage, and this will tell you a bit more about these strange artifacts, while also pointing you to Lucan Valerius in Riverwood. And I suggest you go visit him, as the 2 books he has can be very useful. One of them can teach you how to control your spark. In fact, let's talk about the two spells this mod comes with. The first allows you to toggle whether you will be rescued automatically, which is the default, or if you will be prompted for confirmation first. The second spell allows you to turn powerless inert sparks into active infused sparks, the kind which will allow you to be rescued, but I'll cover that one later. The first spell is called Tune Spark of Life. You can learn it by reading the Tuning the Spark book. You can sometimes get this rare book from high-level mages or rare booksellers, but the most reliable place to get it is from Luke and Valerius in Riverwood. And this spell mainly serves as mod configuration. If you cast the spell while you have Sparks of Life in your inventory, the mod will toggle between two modes of rescue. The default is Auto Rescue, where you are rescued immediately without interrupting gameplay, and the other mode will ask you if you want to be rescued, instead of doing it automatically. This is mainly there so you can avoid wasting sparks if you get defeated in a brawl or in Apocrypha. The Tune Spark of Life spell also grants access to a hidden configuration menu. In almost all cases, you won't need to touch this at all, and you should feel free to just ignore it entirely. It exists mainly for troubleshooting or advanced setups, but I'll show you that just in case. So, in order to access this secret menu, you will need to remove all of your infused sparks from your inventory. Now, you will need to cast this spell 5 times. This, as you can see, opens the secret menu, and each of these options has its own sub-menu explaining what it does, but again, you will most likely never need to use this. This is intentionally hidden to prevent accidental changes during normal gameplay. But what about the second spell? Well, the second spell this mod comes with is called Infuse Spark of Life. As mentioned previously, this spell allows you to turn one inert Spark of Life, which does nothing and is basically just jewelry, into a real infused Spark of Life, capable of saving you from death. Learning this spell is a bit more difficult, however, and the infusion rituals can be costly. Infusion is intentionally difficult. It's meant to be an endgame way to earn extra lives, not something you spam early on. So, first, how do you learn this spell? Well, there are 3 infusion rituals, so to speak, each tied to a different playstyle. One uses Dragon Souls, one relies on necromancy, and one focuses on high-level enchanting. However, just because you have the books does not mean that you will be able to learn the rituals. 2 of the 3 rituals have skill level requirements, and all of them require that you have experienced being rescued by a spark at least once. To Seize the Fire has no skill requirements. The book appears during the main quest, and it allows you to spend 3 Dragon Souls to infuse a spark. Dissolution of Souls requires 75 Conjuration and consumes 6 Black Soul Gems, and Harmonium of Bound Stars requires 90 Enchanting and consumes 12 Grand Soul Gems. These last 2 books can be found sometimes with rare booksellers or high-level wizards, but a few of them are also hand-placed in thematic locations, so search well. Now, why don't we try learning some of these rituals? Here, I have the books for Dragon Souls and Black Soul Gems. Now, if I try to learn the Dragon Souls ritual, you will see that although it has no skill requirements, I am unable to learn this ritual. This is because I have never been rescued by a spark, so I don't even know what kind of magic I'm supposed to be infusing the inert spark with. However, if I go get myself quote-unquote killed, and of course saved by the spark, I should be able to learn this ritual because then I'll know the magic, so... Well, that was unfortunate. I had to use one spark on the way up and another spark on the way down. However, I have experienced being rescued by the sparks, so if I... yeah, I've used both of them. So if I try to learn this ritual now... yes, infuse spark of life added, you learn the Dragon Soul Infusion ritual. However, if I try to learn the other one... yes, of course, this ritual requires advanced necromantic knowledge that I do not possess. Therefore, this ritual is incomprehensible to me, and I am unable to learn it. Only after meeting the skill requirements will it be possible for me to learn this ritual. But one is enough for now, so let's try casting it. It's here in the Restoration School, and of course, being a ritual, you use both hands to cast it. So, let's try it. And now you can see that I am given the option to spend 3 Dragon Souls to infuse the inert spark. Since the Dragon Soul ritual is the only one I've unlocked, it's the only option available. And since I do have enough Dragon Souls, the spell will succeed. And there you go. Once again, I feel protected by the spark. And if we go into our inventory, you will see that I have no inert sparks of life left, and I have this spark of life, which, again, now I can use to save myself. One thing I put a lot of effort in was making sure that the sparks also work for NPCs. Any NPC whose inventory you can access can carry a spark of life, and if they're defeated, they'll be rescued, just like you. This is especially useful for followers you want to keep alive. Simply give them a spark, and when they go down, they'll get back up immediately. The spark is consumed, as usual, but now you have a way to protect the followers that you truly care about. Well, that's it. That's Spark of Life, a lives-based death alternative for Skyrim. It's designed for players who want death to be consequential and survival earned. The mod is available on both PC and Xbox, on Nexus Mods, and as a creation on Bethesda.net. For full details, compatibility information, and community feedback, check out the Nexus Mods page. If you have suggestions or run into issues, I'm always happy to hear feedback. And endorsements really help the mod grow and reach more players. Thank you for watching, and happy gaming!